Sure. So from a Moodys perspective, we try to help client to desynthesize it into four blocks. So first block is the digital transformations. So that one is focusing on two parts of one is the new to bank, new to organization client. The other one is the existing client. The new to organization client is like digitizing, capturing it, and create some sort of digital profile. The existing client is help the clients to uplift the data into today's standards so that they can create a continuation of auto enrichment in the data. And the second pillar is the risk define. Define the risk trigger. So splitting up the material risk versus immaterial risk so that the immaterial risk can create a smoother automation or more highly STP. For the material risk, then it kind of like route it to an analyst so that they can pay attention to that. The third one is phasing. So do it into a easier phase, a lower risk client, so it becomes easily deployed and you can reap the ROI, the return on investment easier. The last one is adopt and scale. A great question. I think the foundation is depending on the client maturity. So I would call it the smaller clients usually focus on the onboarding part of it. So they focus more about consuming the data digitally so that they can then perform the task after that. More sophisticated one, they will focus on both onboarding as well as in life, including exiting the clients. So they need to find a way to consume the data and then do it on a continuous basis as run on the risk assessment so that they can then decide if the business willing to take on continuous risk. For example, during the cycle of the client engagement, there could be merger and acquisition that add on risk, or it could be delisting that removes risk, or add on risk, depending on how it works out across the jurisdictions, across the complexity of the ownership. So Moody's solutions help to create foundations on that, as well as providing data to make more informed decisions to be made if they were to continue the business engagement or discontinue. So from the feedback that I gather, it's people like to see KYC as fulfilling their basic regulatory requirement. That's number one. Second thing is helping the first line of defense within the compliance functions as well as second line of defense to really test their framework that has been digitally that have been written. So it's to exercising the policy they've created, make sure it actually applies in the real case scenario. Then the third one is hopefully that would increase customer experience because it reduces the back and forth between the compliance team as well as the relationship management facing the client. And then client would felt that they are being valued and understand rather than they going back to the client asking repeated question, asking to supply the same amount of information again and again. I think the first one we talk to is data. Data comes up with a problem, which is data quality and data access. But depending on the scope of the client, or let's say the sector of the client, traditional finances, both tier one and non-tier one, they usually come up with first data. Second is the outdated systems. And then third one is the staffing challenges to be able to navigate between the BAU, business as usual, as well as transformation program. But they also understand there's a need of stepping up to be competitive. The fintech, they are very digital savvy. However, they will face staffing challenge as well. They can't attract talents enough. The third one is when the fintech grow into different geographical footprint or their product gets complex or there's a different product, they are be bounded by the regulatory constraint that they couldn't navigate. They will need to go back to the people side to recruit people that really knows about it so that they can integrate it into the business model. The last one is usually about corporates and professional services. So they see things slightly differently. They would see that as the supply chain. So they're depending on upper supply chain and the lower supply chain. So to digitize that across very complex geographical footprint, political situation, it's probably one of the most interesting ones or the challenging one that they need to overcome. I thought the event is amazing. So this is probably my numerous times coming back to this event in different capacity. So previously was from representing from a banking community, now representing from a vendor perspective. Great place to learn and share knowledge. And they're great minds that think alike, coming here trying to help the community to move one step further.